Hello, everybody. Justin Stivers. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of the Stivers Show. Very excited about my guest today, Miguel Salvat with Century 21. Miguel was introduced by a mutual friend who was on this show, George, or I call him Jorge Casariego, a couple weeks ago. But Miguel is a hustler, man. He's out there. If you're in the real estate business, you've probably seen him. And we were chatting a little bit before recording about all the success, all that he's done, and it's impressive, man. So Miguel, glad to have you on the show, brother.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you look tan. I think you said you were just at Ocean Reef Club, like relaxing. So
it's been a crazy couple of months with everything going on. So I had a slew of deals closed, and I said I need a short break.
I get it, man.
A couple of weeks off, but even then, I was driving back and forth for appointments and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so before we kind of dive in, I always like to start. If you want to give a little quick bio, who you are, what you do, that sort of stuff.
Well, Justin, I think we were talking about it earlier. My name is Miguel Salvat. I started in real estate at the end of 2007.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, if you remember that era, by the time I learned how to write a contract, the market had crashed. But I'm a rather stubborn person, and I was seeing, all these other veteran agents and their rankings in our office and stuff like that. And I'm very competitive. So that's kind of where it took off. I kind of shut myself down at home and flipped the switch and started figuring out how my business could take off. What are my strong suits? I'm not a cold caller. I'm not a door knocker, but I do know a lot of people. I was born and raised here in Miami. So I use my strengths, sphere of influences, and my business is branched out. So I have my regular retail business, buyers and sellers. I also have a couple of foreclosure accounts that I handle for banks and sell their properties. I have investors who give me rental properties. So, I really just try to diversify because, it's kind of like the financial markets. I mean, this has its highs and lows. So when the market's low, that's when your investors come in and come to buy. When the market's high, that's when the sellers come out to sell. And now with COVID-19, I think most realtors can attest to the fact that, people are selling because they want to upgrade their homes. They want home offices, home gyms, bigger yards. It's impressive. So unfortunately, I'm seeing the condo market's kind of taking a beating, but the single family and townhouse market is phenomenal. And every time I put up a new property, I'm putting up 3 new listings this week, and I know I'm going to be running like a lightning bolt.
That's awesome. So there are a lot of similarities between, in some degrees, similar similarities between the 07, 08, crash and COVID going on right now, at least for the realtor space. I'm curious, I know you said you're stubborn. What do you think motivated you to kind of like just bury your head and just plow through? Because it's not you're not getting paid until you're, getting deals. So it's a tough gig in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it was the desire to win, the desire to, I had put enough time, energy, and money into this that I needed to make it work. I'm like I said, I'm stubborn. My horoscope is Leo, so apparently we're very stubborn people.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm a Leo as well.
By characteristics. So, I wanted it. I have a brother who's a very successful dentist. My father is a very successful book publisher. So, I felt like I was living in their shadows, and I wanted to stand out too.
Awesome. I get it. And so, what I'm always curious, and we were talking again before, is keeping, you're very relationship driven, as am I. I think that's the key really to any business is, farming your network and maintaining those relationships. Mm-hmm. What do you think has kind of helped you and maybe things you've done to really keep in contact, maybe even during now or in general of your career to nurture those relationships?
I've always called it the brainwash technique practically. So, in real estate, they call it the touches. So when let's say I close a property on a buyer, the first thing I do is put them on a drip mail campaign where they're physically getting postcards every quarter from me for the next 7 years. They're also on my email blast list. My email list already is a little over 50,000 contacts. I try to add them to Facebook, Instagram, and then I have a CRM that reminds me to call them, depending on what bucket they're in, past buyer, current buyer, whatever. So it reminds me to stay in touch because, as you develop a business and you start having, 200-300 past clients, it gets hard to remember who to call and what to do. Even in the mornings, when I wake up, while I'm having my coffee, I'm going on Facebook and I'm wishing everybody a happy birthday. And just those little touches, not only is it a nice gesture, but it also keeps you on top of their mind. And during COVID, I think I told you, I went into my MLS system and I went through all my past sales since I started in the business, which is a little over 1,000 transactions. And I started making sure that I had each client in my CRM. And while I was doing that, I was calling them, and I wasn't going for the sales pitch. It was just simply saying hello. And out of that, a bunch of them came out of the woodworks. We want to trade up. We're moving out of Miami. We're doing this. We're doing that. Oh, my neighbor wants to sell. I give him your number. But it's a great way of staying on top of their minds. And maintaining that friendship, because really, when you list or help a buyer purchase a home, I mean, it's a 2-month process minimum between finding the home and then closing the transaction. You get really close. And, some of my clients, a couple of weeks after the transaction, I'll get a text message. Hey, I miss you so much. I miss our talks. And I'm like, well, we don't got to stop talking. I mean, and maybe I haven't called them back yet, but I do. And we stay up, and I try to remember, if I see on Facebook, it's their kid's birthday, I call them, I'll send them a little token of appreciation or whatnot. But all those things go a long way, and they really pay off. And, it sounds salesman-y, and it really isn't, because I really appreciate these people. Some of them, come to me for just about anything. They've become my brother's patients. They're great people, because you become so close during that period.
You're speaking my language. I think that's I mean, I think, and what you said is, it's not salesy because it's authentic, it's real.
Yeah.
And what you were saying, you're not calling to get a sale. You're calling just to check in because you actually care. Now, do you want business? Absolutely, right? Like, there's no, you do hope that business comes, but you genuinely care about these people, and you're calling to check in. And I think that's where that what is the difference between being, salesy and disingenuous, is like, if you're just calling like, hey, Miguel, how are you? Do you want to sell your house? It's like, okay, you haven't called me in 7 years. Like, what?
Correct. No, when you stay in touch with it, people know when you're genuine or not. And then they become your biggest advocates, and you're genuine because you truly mean it. And that's what we were talking about earlier. That's, a lot of realtors don't follow up because they see it as just a transaction and the next. But, these people are a part of my life,
Where did you get this information? Is this something you learned? Were you involved in coaching programs, or just, independent study? Or
I did when I was a veteran realtor, my first or second year, I did get shipped off to a Brian Buffini seminar. I'm not big on those rah-rah shows. I tell everyone I don't need a coach to motivate me. American Express motivates me every month, but they remind me to get off my ass and work.
Right.
But I did take a couple of things from there, and especially, his way of being is the whole sphere of influence thing. I grew up, my dad owned a Spanish language bookstore and publishing house here in Miami called Librería Universal. We were open to the public for 50 years. And I sold the building like 4 years ago because he wanted to get out of the retail side of the business, even though he's still publishing and distributing books. But in those years of working retail, I had a lot of lessons. I mean, a lot of our customers were very loyal customers. They were like part of the family. And, you learn how to respect people the right way, how to treat people, how to service them. Very important. I mean, when to bite your lip, stuff like that, the customer's always right. That type of thing. So I think that helped me a lot growing up. I was actually talking to my dad the other day because I was telling him what a shame that we don't have the business anymore, because, the newer generations are not getting, I tell people my dad was like Mr. Miyagi. If I wanted something, he would give me 100 obstacles. I wanted a dog, I had to read a certain book, write a report, carry boxes, this. I wanted to play tennis. I had to work in his warehouse during the summer to pay for my tennis lessons. And all those life lessons, it just reminded me of the movie The Karate Kid. So I was telling you, what a shame, my daughter is growing up in a completely different world, and she's, may not have those lessons. I mean, my wife and I try to teach her as best we can, because my wife also comes from that type of background. But, you know, it's a lot different because we're a lot more fortunate than probably our parents were. And so it's hard and it's scary, but it's reality.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you had a great upbringing, but I think, you know, there's a lot of things you're doing I don't think realtors in general are doing. And I think it's just maybe because it's frankly, it's harder work. It's easier to post up a picture on Instagram than it is to like go through a database of 1,000 people and make, you know, they're still your clients, but it's still not, they're not always fun calls. It's not always fun.
A lot of the times I sit on Instagram and I see these realtors, and yeah, they're gorgeous and they're posting up these pictures of them in bikinis and on yachts and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm just thinking to myself, man, you know, if their clients follow them on Instagram, wouldn't they want to see a picture of the front of their house that they're selling for them at some point?
Yeah,
you know?
well, it wouldn't be the same. You and I in bikinis in front of yachts is not the same feedback, I don't think.
Agreed.
So what are you telling? I know you talked about cold calling stuff, and I know, so you're at Century 21 and you're, I think, director of sales there for the team. So how many agents are you kind of responsible for?
We have just shy of 100 agents right now.
Okay.
Over 4 offices, Weston, Homestead, Pinecrest, and the Dadeland area. I'm doing a lot of these virtual meetings with them now. And, you know, I'm telling them to do the same things I do. Hey, you know, if you have past clients, call all of them, say hello. We use a pretty good CRM called Zap it's owned by Century 21, and it's got, you know, different things where I can put, you know, my past buyer's home address, and just log it in, and every couple of months it sends them an email. These are the recent sales in your area, just to give them little home insights and stuff like that. So that works very well, plus reminding us to stay in touch with them. So I'm having them do that. The newer agents, you know, we have a lot of corporate trainings through our website. I'm pushing them to do that as well. We have a program called Accelerate, which is kind of like I got my real estate license, now what? And different tips and tricks to, you know, go into your sphere of influence, go door knocking, go, you know, with scripts and stuff like that I tell them, don't follow the script. Use the script as an outline, but be genuine. And so I'm basically pushing that, and you know, I practice what I preach. And, you know, once a month I have a kind of a broker's roundtable. We call it the Relentless Cafe. And I sit with them, and I bring them my stats, and I show them, look, this week I had 3 closings. This closing, I got it this way. This closing, I got it this way. This closing, I got it this way. This is how it went. And I ask them, what problems are you guys having? You know, it's kind of like a mastermind to see how we can help each other out.
Do you find yourself gravitating towards that coach teacher role? Do you like that? No.
Not yet. I've been asked that question a million times, and people tell me I'm very good at it, but I still enjoy my realtor role a lot more. Maybe, you know, 10, 20 years when I decide to slow down a little bit. But for now, you know, I like being fast paced. You know, people ask me, where's my office? And I tell them it's in your driveway, because I'm always in the car. And I enjoy that, you know, it's just the way I like to be, going back and forth, following my calendar. I've got appointments all day. I set them a day in advance. I'm running around. That's, you know, and I'm very systematic. I wake up in the morning, I have my coffee, I go to the gym. I feed my dog first. Then I go to the gym, come back, take a shower, get dressed, clear out my inbox, and hit the street. You know, so I'm very systematic. And that's another thing that I tell my agents, you know, things like time blocking and keeping a schedule and stuff like that, especially during this whole pandemic thing, you know, where a lot of people were probably sitting on the couch for days. And I'm like, no, that's not good. You got to wake up in the morning. You got to get dressed like you're going to work, call past clients, and then go sit on the couch. But, you know, these people that were serving up margaritas at noon, that's not good, because eventually this shall pass as well. And, you know, we're going to be in a whole new world. And the people that were most active, which for the most part are the veterans in this business, what is it that 20% of the agents get 80% of the business? There's a reason for that, you know, and it's because they're relentless. They don't stop. What
do you see yourself, you know, next level as far in the real estate game? Is there Is there a transaction amount you want to get to? Is there a type of, a client base, a type of property, or something that you see, or you're kind of happy where you're at?
I always say more than the year before.
Yeah.
So like I told you, I have a couple of foreclosure accounts on the residential side, and I'm seeing opportunity coming on the commercial side of REO. So I'm already reaching out to the asset managers that, love me and know me and feed me business. And I'm talking to them about me starting to go and get a commercial REO account as well. I'm already doing commercial BPOs, broker price opinions for them, which basically these banks will send me an address and ask me for the BPO report. And they pay pretty decent money, but it's not about the money. It's more about me getting more knowledge so that, we're pretty sure the commercial REOs are going to come in the next year or two, so that I'm ready and I'm very knowledgeable to provide the high level of service that they demand. But no, my goal is always just, there's a group called NAREP, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. I always come out, in the top 100 for the United States there, stuff like that. So, I want to maintain, but always do better.
Awesome.
I think I'd also like to, the one thing I haven't done in my career is flip a property. That I haven't done yet. So maybe I'll buy a property and rehab it.
Well, who knows? I mean, it's hard to tell what the market will do, but I'm sure there'll be some opportunity when all the dust settles on this thing situation.
There's always opportunity. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a probate attorney. I mean, I know in the probate world, there's opportunities happen for real estate buyers and stuff like that a lot of times. So you just got to be looking.
Yeah, man. Well, awesome, brother. I appreciate it. I always kind of like to leave, listeners with any advice you'd want to give. I know you've given a ton of great tips and great advice that, is good, not for just any profession, my profession as well, really any profession, keeping in contact, maintaining relationships, all that. But anything maybe else you want to add, share with people listening?
Definitely. I mean, I remember when I started in this business and the market crashed, I started seeing these high producing realtors, Ferraris get towed away, their yachts get taken, and even a lot of divorces happened. And, so I like to tell especially the newer guys, invest, get an IRA, get mutual funds, have a plan. Every check you get, you're going to put away 10% for taxes, X percentage for households, and then put a percentage away for your future. I could live, I think I live pretty decently, but I know I could live a lot better if I was just, using whatever commissions come in and just spending them. But my wife and I set up a plan, many years ago with George Casariego and Robert Nuno, and we stuck to that plan so that, one day I can wake up and say, I'm working because I want to, not because I have to.
Right. Awesome advice, man. Well, Miguel, thanks again, brother. How can people find you, get in touch with you, all that good stuff?
I got two websites. I got miguelsalvat.com and I have salvatgroup.com. They can find me there. My name, I appear in a lot of places. My cell phone number is there, 305-975-1492. And I'm always available to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.